2024, a summit will convene. GT Summit, a vision like.
That's it. There we go. That's what I'm. Okay, we got somebody else. David.
For the young, the purpose denied. We bring truth, proof, no longer the high. Generational turnaround.
Peace and love, everybody.
Hello. All right. Now Dana didn't disappear on us.
The numbers of the youth, staggering it seems. Their belief in any means, even extreme. But we call upon God as our first reaction. Offering an alternative, a divine attraction. Special disappear who been where they aspire. To detour them to show a path that's higher. A profitable outcome, pleasing to God's sight. Benefiting the 99%, shining a guiding light. Generational turnaround, open doors wide for more people to thrive. No one left behind, seeking truth, unraveling the why. One wrong decision, a turnaround we defy. Generational turnaround, the podcast and truth, bringing undeniable proof.
Yeah.
In a world where
All right. Undeniable proof. All right. Hello, everybody. Hello. My name is Judy Ambrose, and welcome to Generational Turnaround Now show. Not just the podcast, y'all. We are Generational Turnaround Show. And I have with me some very special guests, and we're coming here to celebrate the end of 2024, but the beginning of 2025. But before we go ahead on over to 2025, we're going to reflect a little bit on how good we are counting our blessings from 2024. But first, let's do a little introduction, everybody. I've already told you I am Judy Ambrose, the host with the most right here. And I'm going to introduce you to my cohorts, starting with Consuelo Hall. Suelo, take it away.
Well, good evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time frame it is. Everyone may watch this. As she said, my name is Consuelo, aka Suelo. That's what they call me. That's what everybody knows me as in the Clubhouse streets. Clubhouse is the app that I have been on for the past 3 years, but actually doing Suelo self-care awareness and self-awareness for the past two almost and a half years on that. But yeah, so, and Miss Judy invited me 3 seasons ago, I guess. Yeah, when I first started on Clubhouse, to be on her podcast. And here I am again, back again on her podcast, speaking the healing words, the positive words, and, let's just love on ourselves and keep everything going.
Right. All right. Okay. Now, so these two wonderful guests are actually from Suelo's podcast and Clubhouse. So I'm going to let him do the introductions.
Peace and love, everybody. Shout out to Suelo for extending the olive branch and inviting me. My name is David. I go by a few nicknames. I am beloved on Clubhouse. I'm in the Clubhouse streets as well. And then I also, I'm a writer. I'm a podcaster. I call myself the Renaissance man these days because what I did in the past always makes way for what I'm going to be doing in the future. So Renaissance man is what I go by. So I write, I podcast, I make fragrances. I'm in the wine space too. And then I just found out about aviation. So that's my trajectory, if you will. My words for 2025 are celebration, networking, travel, love, and connection. And I'm glad to be up here. Again, shout out to Suelo for extending a last-minute olive branch. But when God gives you an opportunity, you got to take it. So I'm glad to be here. So
There you go.
I will pass the mic back to whoever wants to take it on, but I'm glad to be here.
All right, we got Miss Dana.
Hello, y'all. It's nice to be here. Ending 2024 with some great people. It's going to give me some negative wisdom to take into 2025.
Suelo, you got anything to say to David or Dana?
Yes, I actually have something to say to both of them. I want to say first off, I want to thank both of them for accepting the invitation at the last minute. And David, his really was like last minute. He had 10 minutes, 10 minutes. So thank you. But I thought of him. Well, God put David on my mind, and it's just because of he had his book, and I want him to talk about his book. The name of his book is called Create Your Own Luck. And it's how he changed his life and he turned his life around. And that's why me and David, well, we get along so well in the clubhouse streets. I love when he comes and he visits and he talks, about his creativity, because he's very, very talented. And he was one of those people, everybody, counted out and said that he couldn't. But he was like, you know what? Through God, through Jesus Christ, I can do any and everything. And that's what he's doing. So that's why I wanted him here. And then with Dana, I've been knowing Dana, oh my gosh, what, 36, 37
A
years?
long time.
Yes, 36, 37 years. This is somebody that her parents, my parents, we were in the same house. I told you I was raised by the village. So here we are. So she's seen the good, the bad, the ugly. She's seen my transition. She's seen my struggle, and she supported me, through a lot of it. So, and again, thank you. And she was last minute. It was like, I think I said an hour, but I think you had like maybe 45 minutes when I sent you the text message.
Well,
Yeah.
one thing, y'all, this is generational turnaround. So we might have to turn around at the last minute and be somewhere else. So that's what y'all are today. So
So
I
true.
heard what you said about David. Now, the name of this show is Counting My Blessings, Counting Our Blessings. So you already said David. So David, you got to start this with counting your blessings.
Yeah, no pressure, huh? No, I'm just messing.
No blessings.
Yeah, that's something that I've been doing all year. I always say that quiet prayers make way for public blessings, right? A lot of the times it's things that people don't know that you're talking about, or that you may say out loud, or that you may write out, or that you may, however you choose to express it. And that has been my theme like all year. I love people, but I recognize that I need my solitude, and I love spending time in my own space just as much as I love being in the midst of other people. Especially when you're trying to hear God talk, right? Again, I love people, but when I'm trying to hear God talk, let me be for a second. I will get back to you, but let me be for a second. And I found that this year has really shown me my tribe by doing that. The people that recognize that when I'm focused or when I'm writing, is not from a place of I don't want to be bothered by nobody or disrespect, but once I'm focused or am finished focusing on whatever I need to focus on, then I can talk, I can laugh, I can crack jokes, I can do all that. But when God needs to sit me down, and sometimes he does it at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I need that time. I do. I need that time. And that has been my theme for this year, because I always have a word of the year. And my word of the year this year has been transformation, quiet blessings, quiet prayers, quiet confidence even, and having just a natural calmness about myself that translates into other spaces and into other places that I may go, whether that's digitally or in person. And God has really shown up every time, even when I wanted people to stay, but they couldn't, right? For whatever reason, they couldn't stay, but God did. God has definitely been at the forefront of the books I come up with, the podcast episodes that I do. I keep them front and center. And so now at this point, at the end of the year, I'm just oozing with gratitude. He's taken me places that I didn't think he would, or that I didn't think I could go originally. But he said, if you trust me, you don't have nothing to worry about. And so that's what I've been doing just about all year. So I'll go more into detail about that as we go, but I wanted to start it off that way because quiet prayers make way for public blessings. And that's just been my overall message throughout the year. Even when people don't think you're praying, you're praying. So I would start it off there and go on and go into further detail as we go. But that's been my 2024, like thus far.
Well, I got to tell you something, David.
Yeah.
I had a massive stroke. And I tell everybody at that point, before that, I was trying to be all things to everybody.
Mm.
It didn't matter. You can call me at any time of the night, any time of the day. I could just get off and I'm there.
Yeah.
And this was just competitive. I became competitive with myself to see how far I could go. And I was working at the police department as a dispatcher. Never, ever, ever did I think that I would ever do that kind of work. But they show you that God will put you in a position because God knew what was going to happen to me. And so, me being in that position when I started to have the stroke, no, it took nothing for those guys to come and rescue me and get me where I needed to be in record time. And that's why I say, no matter what you think, why you somewhere, why you doing this, why am I, you don't know well why God has you in this particular place at this particular time. And that could be to save your life. After that, it was like God put a sign on my forehead that said, out of order. Because all the friends that I had before that,
Yeah.
I had no more. Nobody, I couldn't do all those things anymore. So they just kind of drift off, fell off. But that was okay because God said, now, you with me, just me. And he put me on the potter's wheel and he started molding me, reshaping me for such a time as this.
Mm.
17 years ago, this was nowhere in my mind, nowhere in the equation of what I wanted to be doing. But I'm better now than I ever was then. So don't doubt you all. I don't care what it looked like. Don't doubt. You're going to go through some things. And some of them going to seem real unfair. But when you look back over your life, you tripped, you fallen, but you never stayed down.
Mm.
That's the key. That's the key component right there. Sway low,
Yes, ma'am.
come on down. I know you got something to say about David, or what I said, whatever.
That I mean, I don't even know what to say about David, just because what I really want. I want David to tell you all about his book, though, about how he came up with the create your own luck, and this is how David and I we this is how we said we would. Well, this is what made us say we were going to start collaborating. Now, the thing about it is, we've been missing each other because how busy everything has been, and then the holidays, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why when this opportunity came, I was like, you know what? Let me see if he can jump on real quick, because for the past 2 weeks, I think we've been trying to make this happen, and
Yeah.
so and it's because of how he came up again with that book, his book, Create Your Own Luck. And his version of luck is my version of faith.
Mm.
So it's hand in hand. So, but it's like for people who really don't believe in faith, he can get people to believe by saying create your own luck. So that's why I was like, okay, yeah, we can go ahead and do this. So if you don't mind, David, would you tell them about your book?
Yeah. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I don't mind. Absolutely. So, um, what made me come up with make your own luck, right? And I know that we all have different mantras and things like that that we may say throughout the day when we're speaking things into existence. And I realized that I come up with my best work when I'm either in reflection mode or I'm going through tragedy. That is when I come up with my best work. And at the time when I came up with Make Your Own Luck, it was a bit of both. And I realized that in almost all of the situations that I have been in, whether good or bad, um, it was based on things that I had to speak up about. It didn't necessarily come from somebody saying, you know what, I like what David's about. Let me put him on to something. Let me put him on to an opportunity. Let me tell him about such and such. That might have been what happened in the midst of the conversation. But if I didn't say anything, nothing would have happened. I still would have been in places that I didn't like. I still would have been around people that I may or may not have liked or wanted to be around. I wouldn't have been able to be up here and connect with awesome people like Suelo. I wouldn't have been able to travel. I wouldn't have been able to write books. I wouldn't have been able to do anything if I simply didn't say or recognize what God was trying to tell me and say, you know what, this opportunity fits. I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to see for myself. I want to see for myself and go for it. And one thing that I promised myself early on was that if I do something and I come up short, that's fine, right? Because I can say that I gave it my best effort. I can say that I gave it 100%. But to have someone on the outside that doesn't know my work ethic, that doesn't know what I'm about, that doesn't know where I've been, that doesn't know where I'm going, telling me that it can't be done, um, I can't tolerate that. I can't accept that. If I'm going to come up short, it's because I put my best effort first and I just simply came up short, and that's fine. And so when I came up with Make Your Own Luck, that's what I was thinking about. And I realized that whether it was becoming a bestseller, whether it was traveling to award shows and amazing things that God has done, nothing would have happened if I simply did not speak up. Whether I wrote it out, whether I verbally said it, I feel like speaking up is speaking up. And so if I didn't do that, nothing would have happened. So I thought about all of that and how long I've been writing. 2025 coming up will make it 10 years. And so I want to encourage other people now who may be doing that already and might not have thought about it that way, that maybe you are making your own luck. Maybe you've been speaking up and you just didn't realize it because you've been doing it for so long, that you didn't realize that you've been doing it, because it's like breathing. After a while, you don't think about it. It's just something you do. So that was pretty much the gist of Make Your Own Luck. And I used, what did I use? I used the message of Ace of Spades, the playing card, Ace of Spades. Because if you look it up, it's the number one card in the deck. And what do we all like to say about ourselves? That we are the number one person in our lives. So, and we don't want to be second to anybody. So I use kind of that little bit of messaging to get across the message of why it's important to make your own luck, why it's important to not wait on permission. Because if you're waiting on permission from others, you'll be waiting forever. And then you'll end up taking any gifts you have to the grave. So I've just been on this thing of not waiting on people to give me permission to do certain things. And so that's been my message behind Make Your Own Luck, is encouraging other people to, if you have the power to do something, do it now, even if it's a small step. So that was pretty much the gist of Make Your Own Luck. And I'm grateful to see where it's gone, to see where it's going. But that was the overall messaging behind Make Your Own Luck.
Very good. Very good. I like that. Make your own luck.
And I want to say, I apologize because I was saying create your own luck, but
No, that's the same thing.
yeah, but that's why I was telling you, Miss Judy, I was like, that's why I wanted him to come on here, because of not only just that book, but he has so many different talents, and he's young, and he's doing things, things that people told him that he couldn't do. And he's just saying, you know what? Watch me now. He has a picture of him and T.I. So that's what I'm saying. He's exposing himself, and I mean, I was on his Instagram page, and and I saw him. He was up there. He had the mic, and he was telling everybody his talents and what he does in podcasting and everything. So yeah, so he's not afraid.
You're right. And you are what's necessary. And y'all gonna hear me say generational turnaround a whole lot, because there's so many young people who don't believe, for whatever the reason, that they can make their own luck. First of all, they believe that their luck comes from doing, as they like to say, by whatever means necessary.
To get the bag.
Yeah, to get the bag. Okay. And you saying that you make your own luck, but, and I'm gonna say on top of that, your purpose. Your purpose will make that happen also. And so I'm purpose driven. Now that I know what my purpose is, I am driven to not only reach, but I'm a reacher. I try to reach people. I'm not trying to teach. I'm not trying to preach. But if I can put my hand out to you, if I can reach you, and you're in sync with me, then we can go. The sky's the limit. So I'm gonna stop talking and let Miss Dana. You want to introduce Dana Swalo before? I know she's gonna take it away because she didn't take it away with my on this shirt before.
Actually, no one told me I was talking.
But you thought you were just gonna be sitting on here or something?
And listening and
Please.
absorbing all of this information and these nuggets.
We want to absorb from you too.
This is our thanks, our gratitude. We're leaving 2024, we're going into 25, and we've all been through something. We've all overcame.
Yes.
And regardless of how hard it may seem, we're still here. But I mean, yeah. And you know what? I do want to say this, because right before this show started, I don't know if you all remember Mr. Randy, but Dana, you remember Mr. Randy? Miss Judy, you remember Mr. Randy, the homeless man that I was helping?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He passed. He passed.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just received that text right before the show, so I was like, okay. But he was suffering. He's in a better place, so
He's in, yeah, he's no longer suffering.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So but like I said, we're starting over, starting brand new. My sis Dana, she's going into the podcasting thing in 2025. I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out. She said that she is, and I'm gonna hold her to that. David
And
is,
I am.
and
I
she
am.
thought she was just gonna be on
yeah,
here.
David
It's
is
not
right.
she.
I
Uh-oh.
know David's gonna be there. Like I said, we just got to get our schedules to meet.
Yeah, I'll be there.
But
Yeah.
sis, I'm gonna get you too, because
I will be there.
all of the things that you have overcame in your life, and you already know the goodness of God, and you already know where you've been from, where you came from, through and to. So that's why I wanted you to be here. I wanted you to share some of your bittersweet happy moments, because we gotta have the bitterness first to get to the sweetness, and then once we get to the sweetness, then we reap the harvest of the blessing. So that's where we are, and like I said, leaving this year, and next year's blessings is just going to be even more than what they have been.
And without
Yes.
further ado,
Here's my sis, my best friend for 36, 37 years. Ooh, I think I'm kind of telling our age, but
It's okay. Look,
hey,
I am embracing gonna be 50, so that's fine. That is fine.
yeah,
But it's
yeah, so
it
young.
has been it's been a year. However, as Miss Judy, and my sister knows, the enemy is real. And like we've been told, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And I
Yep.
lost my father, who was also Connie's father. He was the village father in March, and I had to literally fight. It's a day-to-day fight to not succumb to depression. I went into every day like, hey, it didn't happen. But then when I didn't let that affect me, the enemy came in with all kind of sicknesses that I'd never had before, bedridden, food poisoning, bacteria, pneumonia. And even in the midst of all of that, like I would tell my sister, in the midst of going through everything I went through, I never gave up. Like you said at the beginning, Miss Judy, I kept getting up. You can knock me down. Hey, I may fall. I may cry, whatever. I'm just going to dust myself off, find out another way to attack whatever it is, and I'm going to keep going, because that's one thing my father always told me. Hey, no matter what, you keep going. Hey, you fall, it's okay. Everyone falls. But you have to keep going, because if you don't and you stay where you're at, you'll never know what you can or cannot overcome.
Mm.
And 2024, and it's not just not myself, you can look at the entire state of the economy and the world. The world has been through some things in 2024. A lot of people didn't make it to tonight because they wasn't strong enough. Their mind frame wasn't strong enough. However, once you've accepted accountability and can say, okay, enough is enough,
Mm.
do that self-evaluation. Like I love your book, the title of your book, Create Your Own Luck. And that's basically what you're doing. You're creating your own destiny.
Yeah,
You are writing your story.
yeah,
You don't like it, you change it. No one can do that for you. So I remember I told my sister last week or the week before, it's been some weeks, almost months now, that I've cried for the grieving part of my father, because I choose to not allow that to control me. I
mm,
choose to live, and I choose to live with knowing that he's no longer here, but he is here with me in spirit. And that's what keeps me going and gives me that strength that I didn't think I had. And that's all I have to say. Yep.
Everybody was looking like, what else? What else? We want to hear more.
Look. What else would y'all like me to say?
Now, but I am going to say this. I am going to say this. The one thing about, about crying, I have always said, what seed grows without watering? Now,
Right.
we have these mustard seeds, and this is what I talk about. When parents, these older generation parents, whatever, some of the younger generation parents, and especially the younger generation, they tell these kids, the younger boys, growing up to be men, you're not, you can't cry, you're not supposed to cry, only girls cry. But if they don't cry, how does their faith grow? Because if you don't
Right.
water that mustard seed, that because you got that little mustard seed of faith, and if it does not get watered, where are they going? Is that the reason why you have all of these angry uh men walking around, or angry
Mm-hmm.
angels walking around because they can't cry because they have to be hard? So let it out, let it go. Sis, you go ahead, you cry. David, if you need to, you cry. Because I'm gonna tell you, I've been walking around, I've been boohooing, saying thank you, Lord, for bringing me from, through, and to, because I'm not supposed to be here. So, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but that's I'll wait till my turn, because that's a whole nother topic right there. We'll
Yeah. And another thing that Suelo and I talk about a lot is when once you learn to literally walk by faith, your
Yeah.
whole perspective is different.
Yeah.
And like she said, you can you can be in your own little world, and she can tell you, I cry all the time. However, I when the waves do come, I cry because that's when I find myself getting stronger. When I let that wave, when I go through that wave,
Yeah.
cry, talk to him, be like, okay, I don't understand what you're doing, but I know you're doing something, and I'm here, and I'm gonna stay right here until it's done.
Mm.
I feel so much better because you grow when you allow, people call it vulnerability, but you have to be vulnerable in order to see everything that you need to see, hear everything you need to hear. That way you'll be able to go whichever direction you need to go.
And that's right. Because if you're not growing, where are you going? Nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You're stuck. Just stuck right there. And there's been too many times that I've stunted myself. Nobody else did it.
Yeah.
And I look back and sit I actually sit down and look at myself like I'm looking at myself right now. And I'm saying, now what's the problem? What the
Mm-hmm.
problem is.
Mhm.
I mean, there's everything around you. You need everything you need is right around here, around you. Your food, your water, your shelter, your family, maybe right in the next room. So
Yeah.
why aren't you focusing on the betterment of you? Because everything is already there.
Mhm.
Mm.
And so I'm looking at, look, let me raise my book, y'all. I don't know if y'all can see it.
Yeah, raise it up just a little bit more. Just
Okay.
yeah.
Healing words, speaking the life into the generations. And so I want to read y'all a little something right quick. And that's what I was trying to do. But check this out. Can y'all see this picture?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Y'all see what that is? That's a beautiful family with their baby. My I thought about, and God gave me the words to this. There are things that I wish that I knew before I had my children. I was young. and dumb and full of fun and not thinking about the outcome of doing what I did to have these children and what would happen after. And I did a lot of reading and I found out that your babies, when they're in your stomach, in the womb, they actually feel what you're going through. They're actually learning that her personality is coming from what they feel when they were in your stomach, in the womb. And I can use my daughter as an example. One came out happy and so full of life. She had a lot of people around her that loved her. Then middle one, she came out scared. She didn't want to be away from me at not one moment. That's because I was in a relationship when I was doing a lot of fighting and she experienced that. And so healing words is something that should be done while the baby's in the womb. We should be talking to our children. We should be loving from the womb so that when they come out, they already know. And then from there on, if we're not talking to them in that way, and I'm not talking about affirmation, I'm talking about words like love for and hope and and family and the scriptures. We need to stop out. There's so many, especially young men, that don't have a clue about healing words because nobody's never spoken them to them.
Right.
All they've been told is what they should do, what they be like Suelo said, be a man. Men don't cry. Have the testimonies that men could give you if they were on this platform right now, and if they were truthful, they would tell you, I don't know anything about no healing words. Ain't nobody ever tried to heal me. And so that's what this book is about. From dating to deciding to go all the way to deciding to have that baby. And from there on, we're talking about the village mentality.
Mm.
What is a village? Well, if you don't know what a village is, just think about where do you live if you don't have a village around you. And so I'm just, I'm so, my heart is so full about we have got to do this for for ourselves. Because I mean, I'm not in retirement yet, but I want to know that there's going to be some young people out there who cares if I'm crossing the streets that want to help me, who want to sit down on the porch and talk to me and get some of my wisdom. Yeah, that's
Well,
what.
there's some still out there, Miss Judy, but there's not a lot, and that's sad to say.
Right.
Um, and it's because of the programming. And I think it was I was listening on the radio today. They were saying something about Texas was one of the last states to realize that they were free.
Yes.
A lot of people here in Texas now they still don't understand that they are free. The difference is they are not in the field, they are just inside the home. And
Mm.
people are that have them enslaved, they call them mama, they call them daddy, they call them grandmother,
Mm,
grandfather, uncle, aunt. Those are the people that still give them those little Bible verses, the one little verse, and keep the rest of, the chapter from them, or the rest of the book from them. Do as I say, not as I do. I brought you in this world. So that's where a lot of that, comes from. So it's entrap anger and entrap rage. And then, it's like, okay, so you're telling me I can't do this. You're telling me I can't do that. But then they're looking at everybody else use their talent, because these other people are actually, and I'm speaking from my own self experience. So I'm telling you, y'all know I'm speaking from my own self experience. So you see other people, doing other things, but it's then, you look at yourself like, well, how come I cannot do this? But then when you look at your family saying, oh, well, you can't, you cannot because I told you so. You cannot because I said so. You cannot because of the dad, you got this daddy, or you got this mama, you came from this background. That's where it all comes from. I mean, it's just, that's where, and they feel, and because even for myself, I felt that I had to be just like them because that's what I was told. And because I felt that way, I self-destructed, and I did a lot of stuff that my family should have did. Well, excuse me, that my family did, instead of me learning who I should have been, my purpose through God. And so now that I understand who I am and whose I am, I can look back and I can say, wow, y'all really ruined me. Y'all try to ruin me on purpose. So that makes me understand that I truly do have a strong purpose for my life. When your own family, and see, that's what a lot of people, especially young adults, they need to understand that when your own family is against you and when your own family teaches you wrong, that means you really have a strong purpose on your life. So make it through everything that you're going through, but just get through it safely without hurting yourself or without hurting anybody else. And then come out and tell, the mess that you went through is your message. So tell your message. Whatever test that you failed or passed is your testimony. That's for every, later on in life, when it's time for you to sit down and for God to set you up, you can go ahead and tell your testimony.
Mhm.
But
that's right.
we are not told that, because like I said, my mother was telling me, I'm preparing you for when I'm not here. And then she would always say, what are you gonna do when I'm not here? What are you gonna do when I leave? What are you gonna do? Who you gonna call on next? She didn't tell me to call on God. She didn't tell me to call on Jesus. She was just letting me know she did everything. My pops let me know he did everything. But see, David's generation, David came along and said, wait a minute, something's not right.
Mhm.
Something's not right, because all of these people, everybody before me, it can't be. Something's not right. So it's some people in his generation that
Yeah.
actually did the research. And there's some people in my generation that actually said, wait a minute, you know what, this is not right. And I've been speaking up my whole life. And Dana can tell you, I've always said something. I've never held my tongue. I've never bit my tongue. If it wasn't right, I spoke up and I said exactly what I needed to say, regardless of who it was. But
Mhm.
some people can't do that.
Well, this generation, Z, millennium, they are. They are asking questions. They're not even believing the Bible as written. Okay,
Well,
not saying that they don't believe it as written because they have found evidence.
Mhm.
so
Uh,
which Bible? But which Bible? Because every Bible, I mean,
okay, that's another point. They because you got several versions, and so they are finding out that this means this and not this. And if you, like you say, if you read completely past that one verse that was always taught you, that it means something else. So I that's why I love the younger people, because they are intense and they are intentional.
look how David's looking. You see, do you see that look he has on his face? He's
Locked in.
that's
But hey, David, go ahead.
no, he had that's an intense that you were just talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I
Mhm.
love it. That's why I love going over there to TikTok, even though that my initiation was something else, but that's okay. As a matter of fact, my anniversary for my initiation over to TikTok, where I went viral, 4 million people, wasn't for the bad, but it wasn't for my good, but it ended up being for my good. And so I took the the video that I made from that and put it on last month. Hey y'all, this is my beautiful daughter. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy
Just want
New
to stop
Year.
by and wish you all well. 2025, we are going to the moon, not coming back.
That's it.
Amen.
Love you,
Fun.
baby.
Enjoy.
Yes, but isn't it something? And she made me lose my chart. So think it over, Swallow.
Oh Lord. But yeah, it's it like I said, David's generation. You know, those are that's the generation that is just telling everybody, you know what, I don't care what you tell me. I'm going for everything because I have all these different talents. Um, um, and I love it. I really do. I love every bit of it because nobody can tell you anything, but that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it should be. That's how they should have taught us, but they didn't teach us that way. They taught us, and I'm not saying every parent taught that way, but for the most part. And you know what? Because I'm glad that we're having this conversation because Dana was the person that I was always in church with. And we both, were like, growing up thinking one thing, and then when I left home and then she left home and she got married and had her kids and life happened, like I say, Swalo, y'all know what Swalo stands for. Situations will alter your life's outlook. And then we had to go through life got to life in, and then was like, wait a minute. So this stuff that they taught us in church, that's not what that is. That's
Right.
not, I don't, because like how the younger generation says, so if I'm reading the King James version, they're like, well, what are you doing? That version doesn't even work anymore. They have the new King James, and then they have the NIV, and then they have all these other versions. I'm like, but it's
Trying to
still.
get it right, and they're still not getting it right. They're trying to get it right, but they they won't look deep enough to where you got to go back to where it originated. The first people who gave that Bible used it to control people.
Mhm.
They used it as, if you don't do what we tell you to do, is in this Bible, and we can smack it with you with it, and you won't have your children want to, your husband, you'll get separated, and that's all in the Bible.
Right.
That's what they did. And now the generations like David and younger are saying, I don't see none of that.
Mm.
What
They going all the way back to the first book.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, they
yeah.
going back to wait a minute. I got to translate this word. What does this word mean? Now this is the
Yeah.
Greek word. This is what is this? Yeah.
Arabic.
What type of studying have you done, David?
So I was into the New King James Version. That is the version that I've been following. And a thought that I had also, right, to kind of go along with what y'all are saying is there's also, uh, I'm sure y'all have seen it, a lack of patience. And we just, people, period,
Mm-hmm.
want instant blessings. And I find that some that are in my generation want instant blessings. And if it doesn't happen within the time frame that you think it should, then we automatically go to the 10th degree and we think that it won't happen because it's not looking the way that we thought it would look, or it hasn't shown up the way that we thought it would show up. And that's been one of my, I'm not going to call it a struggle, but one of my challenges, because I do consider myself to be a very patient man. And when you're just starting on something, but people automatically want it to be finished, it's like, wait, hold on, I just started. Like, wait, give me a second. Like, let me work on whatever it is that I need to work on. I'll do what you asked of me, but let me work on it. And I find that there is a big, big, big lack of patience. And it's almost as if people want you to work miracles. People want you to work yourself into the ground when they just asked you what the assignment was, whether it's small or big, however it plays out. But I find that there's a big lack of, okay, you asked me to do something. I'm doing what you asked me to do. Let me do it. Like, let me work on it, especially when you see that there's strides, right? So I think that there definitely needs to be less speed and more intention is what I'm finding. Because just from my observation, there is a lot of speed, but there's not a lot of direction within that speed. And I found myself falling into that trap. And somewhere along the way, I said that if I'm going to go fast, I want to go fast in the right direction. I don't want to go fast in a circle. And I found that, like I said, there's a lack of patience, and people want what they want when they want it. And it's just, I feel like it's abundant at the moment. It might change, maybe, maybe not. But I find that there's a big lack of, like, wait, you just asked me to do something. Let me work on what you asked me to do. Let me find my speed. Let me find my rhythm. Let me find my flow. Instead of just asking you for something, to do something. And then within 5 to 10 minutes, they want it done, complete, wrapped, gift wrapped, sent off. And it's like, well, when you ask for something from Amazon, do they immediately ship it? No, it takes a day. It takes 2 days. It takes a week. So I think that if we could apply that to other areas of life, I think that there would be more patient people versus somebody just asked you to do something and they want it like immediately done. And it doesn't always work that way. So I'm finding that there's a big, big lack of patience and waiting, just from my observation.
Well, that is true. This is the microwave generation that wants it and wants it fast. And they don't believe that if it takes too long,
Hmm.
they no longer want it. I mean, I I thought that was strange but I thought because I'm coming from the old school. But you all feel the same way, David?
Um, yeah. I mean, depending on what's being asked of you, right? Like if it's something small, then that's fine. Like something small that you can do immediately, then that's fine. But I find that even for things that may take a little bit more time, something that might be a little bit more complex, maybe. And you tell people and you're honest. You say like, hey, listen, if you let me do such and such, I'll get it done. It's just gonna take me some time. And I find that is somewhat of the issue because, like you said, we live very much in a microwave society. And when I hear that we live in a microwave society, it makes me think of this quote that I saw talking about microwaves and ovens, right? Sometimes things are cool in a microwave, but they taste better coming from the oven. Why? Because the oven, you have to warm up the oven before you put the food in. And then it takes a couple of minutes from there. And so it stays hot longer. There's certain benefits that go with warming something up in the oven versus the microwave. And sometimes your food is still cold when you warm it up in the microwave. It's still cold. So I'm using food because I'm hungry, but but the point is, that I think that, like you said, going back to the whole microwave society, I think that that's the problem. We want immediate results on things that even that we use were not immediate. The
Yeah.
chair that we sit on was not immediate. The beds we lay in were not immediate. The doors we use to close our doors where we want privacy was not immediate. So my question is, how do we go from really putting in what they call the hard labor and come
Mhm.
doors and chairs and apartments and buildings and hotels to microwave society, that now
Mhm.
we want that kind of stuff within 20 minutes? And it's like, it sounds like they want you to work and work and work on the thing until you make yourself sick. That's how it sounds to me. I could be wrong, but that's how it comes across. Because again, going back to the microwave society analogy, we didn't come from that. We came from where you actually had to put in some hard labor, and now it's
Mhm.
not that whatsoever.
Well, let me put this out there to all, all three of y'all.
Mhm.
Now, when I was at TikTok, I was told by the young people, one in particular, that he will never work a job because of the content, being able to get paid the money that's being paid from TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, that he hasn't worked a job in 2 years, 2 years, and never expect to ever work a job in his life again. And so I'm watching the little kids from Africa that dance on different Facebook or whatever. And they said that they made $7,000 in a month. And so that's happening to our young people. They're being paid these crazy, crazy amounts. And what about, I mean, can that end or can it just get even better?
Mm.
Is this gonna change the revolution? Is this a revolution that they're not gonna then they're not gonna need people because we got all these robots that's doing the manual jobs, and so people can just go into the technology and content and do all that. And what do you think?
Hmm. Well, technology is raising kids anyway, so I mean, with the technology raising the kids are saying, well, let me go ahead and make some money off of it since I'm on here every day, all day. And apparently the parents don't have a problem with it because now the kids, they can, buy their own whatever materialistic things. And I mean, hey, if they feel that, that's their career,
Well, okay,
take my hat off to them, right?
okay, but okay, now we got all these robots and doing jobs. Okay, yeah, if that the kids can do that, but the grown-ups that were doing those positions are now being replaced by technology.
Hmm.
And so what happens to them?
Well, I guess they're gonna have to talk to their kids, and they're gonna have to get on social media and start doing some
Everybody can. That's not gonna be everybody. That's
Everybody
I'm
got to start
sorry.
writing some books or something. I mean, because everybody's sitting in, on technology anyway. Nobody's really, nobody's living. I mean,
What
when it
about
comes
them? What
to it,
about those people that live in um, back there in that you were talking about earlier who are still back in time. They got the little job. They live in little cities. They don't know anything about all that. And then one day, these machines come into their town and are working jobs that they used to work. They don't have the uh, college or what's needed to run these machines. What about them?
Miss Judy, I'm gonna tell you the very first time when I was at work and I was walking across the floor. I went from my building that I was working at, and I was going to building 2, I think. And nobody told me about the robots. And I think this was back in 2009, 2010, and it was pitch dark because I didn't get off until like 12:30, at night after midnight. So I'm walking across, and then all of a sudden, I heard this noise, this and I'm like, "What is this?" And there's nobody in this building but me, until I get to the other side. And then I'm walking, and then I'm like, hearing this noise, and then see these red little beady eyes light up, and I took off running so fast. So it
Just like a
scared
horror
me.
movie. Just
So
like
I mean, just like a horror movie, yeah. So I mean, I was in that situation to where I didn't know what it was. I'm just thinking, okay, this is where they build the cabinets, for all the industrial buildings. I did not know that they were building, the robots to send to Japan and stuff back then. So yeah, it's that stuff is yeah.
In Japan, China, whatever, they got whole little armies of uh, robots that's working all their jobs. So,
yeah.
but what I'm saying is, okay, people are going to be obsolete as far as working, but we're not going to get paid for sitting at home and the robots doing the job. So then what happens?
But I think at that point, um, and I was just it's funny. I was just watching something about this. Even though there's a uprise in AI and robots and tech, and don't get me wrong, I love technology. It's allowed me to meet amazing people like y'all. So I love technology. But I think when the workforce starts to die down because of robots, I think at that point there's going to be much more of a value placed on creatives and people that, like we're talking about, um, still do things by hand, right? So maybe they still write, maybe they still do
Mhm.
things that a robot can't necessarily do. A robot can't necessarily connect emotionally with somebody else. A robot can't necessarily, they may be able to write a book and come up with one, but they can't sit down for 2 to 3 hours and decide what thoughts they want to put on paper or something like that. Like there's something, what's the word? There's some ingenuity about just being human that I think that once robots officially and unfortunately take over certain jobs, there will be more of a value placed on people that do stuff like writing and construction and that kind of thing. Things that started out, with people like us and things like that. So I think if we're talking about like robots and AI and stuff, um, there will be more of a value placed on that. I know it's there already. I know that it's starting to take notice, but I think that the value will increase because there will be a decrease in people in the workforce that may or may not be doing that. So I think once we get to that point, um, there will be an increase in value on people who still may write by hand or do certain things like naturally versus trying to do it artificially.
Okay, so with that being said, it seems to me that, like you say, there's an increase of the technology and a decrease of the human needs.
Mm.
And I mean, if you go back, say for my age, us baby boomers, now the technology, there's still a lot of us working out in the workforce because they can't afford to quit. They can't afford to retire.
Yeah.
But as far as trying to learn this modern technology, they were kind of at feeling like they could, work a little longer. But as the technology grows and the more they're replaced by the robots and the AIs, I'm just saying, oh, just because you can don't mean you ought to.
Mm.
Not everything. Just because man can, well, he went to the moon, he went to this place, he went to this place, he's trying, you know, I'm, I'm, and I'm wrong. I mean, I'm wrong for saying this, you are, but sometimes we gotta stop and think before we make stuff everything. Yeah, no, do y'all feel where I'm coming from?
Well, so let me see. With me being a ex electronics repair tech slash manufacturer, first off, it's gonna take somebody to make it. And it's gonna have to take somebody to fix it whenever it malfunctions.
Hmm.
So I think it was one of these Walmart somewhere. They were trying to go with all of the self checkout. They learned very quickly that they couldn't do that, so they had to take the majority of them back out and put the people back in the stores. So they already know that that's not going to work. Walmart knows anyway. I don't know who else knows, but and Tesla should know with whoever all these self-driving cars that they keep malfunctioning and going driving down the wrong way and everything. But that's what I tell everybody, because for me being on the inside, and I worked on when I used to work for the FAA and when I used to work on the planes and everything, that's when I saw how tedious and how um, let me see, fragile a lot of those things are. So yeah,
But
you have to have people you because the some of those things that you nah, if the robot messes it up.
yeah, yeah, and you know what? Bottom line is this is God's planet. We are God's people. And no matter how smart we think we are and what all we try to invent, we are God's children. And we gonna be all right. We are gonna be all right. No matter who's in the White House, no matter who's in charge of this, that, and the other, bottom line is our faith. That's the bottom line. So
That's it.
I and look, I see Dana all comfortable. She got her blanket out there, and I see David looking for something to eat because he's so hungry. You got to turn the light off so we can't see him while while he
I was trying
nibble.
to get back before y'all saw me. Y'all saw me. Damn.
Look, I'm just imagining because my daughter peeped in here and she got some food in her hand, and she was like kind of teasing me like, Mama, I know you're
Uh-huh.
hungry. I know you're hungry. Oh, y'all, this has been wonderful. And I know we all gonna be ready for that countdown. What time is it? Does anybody? Because I don't even see the
It's
time.
10:13.
10:12. Well,
Yeah,
Oh,
10.
It's
all
a
right, all right.
here.
almost
So,
an hour and 10 minutes. Almost an hour and 10 minutes.
okay, okay. So I'll be able to have two. This is gonna be on. It's on. It's live right now. So I don't know if did I tell y'all that it is live and people have been coming in. I'm reading the numbers. They'll come in, they'll come out, they'll go out, they'll come in. Right now, there's three or four, two people in there watching us right now. That's all we see. You can only see a couple, but it's
Ah,
going to the network.
mhm.
So you all, yeah. I'm so thankful that y'all came to hang out with me. Yeah, this wasn't planned. So Suelo didn't have no time because I call her and I say, Suelo, you want to go on with me tonight? She always said yes. So I knew she was gonna say yes.
Like
And
David said, the opportunity. When the
I,
opportunity arises,
yeah,
jump on
You
it.
gotta grasp it.
and she
Hmm.
said, she said, I got a few friends I'm gonna bring with me. I said, the more the merrier. Come on. Yeah, and it worked out perfect. Four of us. That's perfect.
And I wasn't
Hmm.
even at home, so I had to get home. So that's why I was like, I said, hold on, wait a minute, let me get home first. It's 10 minutes. Hmm.
And well, now I want everybody to take some time, talk about whatever you got going on at this moment, what you got going into 2025, what we can do to support each other, because look, that's what has to be done. We've got to support one another because you got to be a part of a certain clique around here
Yeah.
to be even well, y'all know what I mean. But
Hmm.
I'm making my own clicks, and I have met some and you. Let's get it started. We ain't got to wait for nobody, and we don't have to be part of. No, I'm not doing it right now. I have a podcast. I have a show. I've written the international best selling book. They don't know it yet, but that's what it's going to be. Okay. And then going from there, the sky's the limit, but I'm a kind of close it up and I'm going to decide well, no, I'm not going to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Father. You already decided the purpose. And so, y'all, let's live our purpose and help one another in whatever area God has blessed us with an abundance of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And if we do that, we ain't gotta run back and forth and look for this one and that one and look for the approval from nobody. Okay,
Yeah.
he's my Suelo.
Okay, so what do I have going on this year? No, well, ending this year, starting next year, podcasting, YouTube channel. That's something, like I said, we just started the YouTube channel. I think the first episode was in November, and we just been going from there. It's going to be more podcasting, more. What else? What else are we doing?
Clubhousing?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do about Clubhouse. I know we're still gonna be on Clubhouse on Saturday, every Saturday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's the self-care awareness room. Sometimes on Wednesday we have self-awareness, but that's what I'm saying. That Wednesday room, I think I'm gonna change that because I do have a lady that what's the lady's name? Lisa, Miss Lisa, the one that has the book from druggie to doctor, or from dopey to from druggie to doctor. She's gonna be on my podcast starting on Wednesdays, and it's gonna be a every Wednesday thing. So podcasting is gonna be more in my future. But again, like I said, Clubhouse will be there, Saturday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then whenever I'm in Trucking Guys Ways Clubhouse, that starts at 6:30 a.m. Monday through Friday Central Standard Time. So that one's kind of hard for me to get in there, but I'm still in there. So and then merchandise. I have merchandise that's coming out next year. So yeah, we have a lot of stuff coming out, starting up. Oh.
Right. David?
So what do I have coming up? I do have. I'm kind of quiet about it. I just recently started promoting it. I do have another book that I'm gonna be dropping. My goal is to drop this book on my birthday, which is what's tomorrow? The first. My birthday is the 9th, so I have another book that I'm dropping on my birthday. And then I've recently signed up for school, so I'm in school for something that I just found out about. I didn't know it was a thing, but I think came across kind of like they have real estate brokerage. Well, they also have it for aircraft brokerage. So in the days that my books are slow, I can help people if they're trying to get to certain destinations and things of that nature. Aircraft broker by the end of 2025 is my goal. So those are my main two things that I have going on. And then I'm a podcaster myself, so I'm glad to meet other podcasters always, because that's in my wheelhouse also. And I'm always looking for guests. I'm always looking for people that want to come on my show. It is called the Be Your Own Hero Show. That is what it's called. And it's meant to encourage other people, because I had a Superman kick at one point. And so I would say out loud that I am my own superhero. I am Superman at the end of the day. So people really love that message. So what I would do is I would invite people on that find their own person to resonate with. And it could be anybody. It could be Batman, Flash, whoever. And that becomes the name of the show. So Superman meets Captain America, for example, or Superman meets, and it becomes a really cool way for people to kind of bring out their inner child a little bit, because I find that sometimes we get too caught up in the business of life and we forget, like, what were you doing before you had to pay bills? What were you doing before you had to, quote unquote, grow up? Which adulting sucks. Okay, adulting sucks at times. So that's pretty much what I have going on.
Yeah, I love that.
I got a book, podcast, and school. School is what I have going on.
But I do want to say, David, you are absolutely correct. If you do not get in tune with your inner child again, it's hard to get in tune with your creative side. Because a lot of people, it's been shut off from growing up, because like you said, adulting, life happens, we have to go to work. I like how David says, we're all taught, to get, to grow up, go to work. What do you say, David? Work until what? Work until you're 70, 80 years old,
Yeah, they catch you with they call it the 40-40-40 plan. You work 40 hours a week for 40 years. And then at the end of it, they may give you a watch, they may give you a pension, they may give you some form of respect at the cost of working yourself into an early grave for 40 years. And then go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, that's what we were taught in my generation, that exactly that.
And then I think that sometimes depending on the job you have, because there are some people who love their job, right? So this is not bashing of jobs in any way.
Right.
But sometimes I find that the job takes you away from your dream. Because maybe your dream is to use the job to get to a certain point, and it's not always meant to stay at the job. And I find that, and this is something that I also found, that jobs are meant to be kind of used as a stepping stone rather than a stationary place. And sometimes we just as people, I'm guilty of it, we may get comfortable at the job. We may feel like the job is the only thing we have. That's
Mhm.
what I was taught. I did not know about, as we're talking about creating your own luck, believing in God, so on and so forth. I did not know about that. I was taught that you find a job that you really like, you stay at the job for 50, 60 years, however long. Um, and then if you have some money left over, then you can pursue what you want to pursue. That's what I,
Mhm.
and like Suelo said, somewhere along the way you go, okay, but there's got to be more than just this.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's more than just I wake up, go on a 2 hour commute, have a 30-minute lunch break, day out, day in and day out. Like there's got more to life than just that. And I think that when you start to look at life like an event and you realize that there's always a mountain to climb, there's always a new adventure to go on, there's always something new. I think that that kind of reinvigorates your inner child.
Yeah.
Because that's what we did before we got so entrenched in work. We went out to go play. We went on adventures. We didn't hold grudges against other kids. Right? Like there are certain things that we didn't do. And I think that if you can get back in touch with that, then you'll realize that, you know what? Life is an adventure. Life is meant to be playful to a certain degree. It's not meant to just be all seriousness all the time. Yeah, there's moments of it, of course. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but finding silver lining in it, I believe, is the beautiful part. And not getting so caught up in, well, I got to work, or you don't have to do anything. You get to do stuff.
That's right.
You don't have to do nothing. You get to do stuff. If you want to switch your job, you can. If you want to move to a new country, you can. If you want to trade in your car, you can. So when I started looking at life like that and realizing the abundance of choices that we have, that kind of reinvigorated my inner child because I did get caught up in the trap of not the trap, but the hamster wheel of the 40-40-40 plan that they try to, and sometimes not so successfully, tell us that we should be doing. So if you can make time for your inner child, I would just encourage anybody that's going to be listening to just make time for
Yeah.
it. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right, Dana.
Well, for 2025, we have it's a workshop and it's showcasing overcoming the recidivism statistic. We have been planning it since the onset of COVID, but now we're finally able to have it to where certain it's a certain group of ladies that were incarcerated with myself that have been out. Some have become truck drivers, some have become entrepreneurs, and we have a panel of like the certain officials from the correction board that are coming to see and talk about changes that need to be made inside the walls to help prevent those from going back into the system once they do come out. And just continuing this, like I told sis earlier, 2025 is self care year. That's
Yeah.
all it's about. It's all about what do I need to do to become better, to continue to grow, continue to evolve, and not be stuck in that stagnant position in any area.
Mm.
Mm.
And even if we only help one person along the way, we've accomplished a whole lot because
That's
there's so many that are ready to give up. And like sis and I talk about it a lot that just need to hear someone else that has gone through somewhat remotely what they've gone through to give them that glimmer of hope that hey, if they did it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's beautiful. You know, I just found out today that I have my 501c3. I can now get grants.
Wow.
Yeah, I have my
Congratulations.
nonprofit. Yes, thank
Yes.
you. And I was thinking about today, I was helping another person that has a disability. She's blind, and I'm helping her write her book. And
Wow.
so I interviewed her. What I do for the disabled, I interview them like we are right now. I ask them questions, and I go back, make it audio, and then put it in words. And uh, then I pretty much write it from it's everything came from them, but I
Mhm.
put it in the right format and I edited it. And so she was so excited because she was a journalist when she lost her sight. She was a news
Hmm.
reporter in Mexico. And so right now she's taking dialysis 3 days a week. And she's already lost both retinas. And so, but this
What's the name of
woman
her book?
goes everywhere. What, Suelo, did you meet
I
Judy?
know yeah, I know he's talking about, but what's the name of her book?
Her book is The Father Factor. That
Hmm.
is the one that she completed. Now she's writing one, Daughters of the King.
Wow.
And so it's
That's
really,
beautiful.
yes, it's beautiful. And so that's what I'm gonna use my grant. I wanna write for those who have stories but are disabled and cannot write for themselves. So they told me I hit an area that is very needed. It,
Hmm.
there are so many disabled. I, one lady, she was in an airplane crash. She lost the use of her bottom. She's in a wheelchair. She has 3 children. And so I put together an anthology, and it has 5 people that are disabled, and we call ourselves the 5 loaves and 2 fish. And that's
I
what he's
like that.
fed. That's what he's fed over 5,000 people, and that's us. So we have that anthology, and then now my healing words, speaking life into the generations. So I've got about 5 books that I authored. So now I want to, and most of them are with a disabled person. So that let me know that that's my purpose.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. So there's I'm saying to everybody out there that if you want to give to a cause of the disabled, these people are have been through all all walks of life. They have given their time, they've given their commitment to whatever employment they had, and now they are disabled and like myself on disability. And but this disabled, I put a hyphen in between that word because we are not disabled. we are well able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that expected of us. So we are still in this together with you. And so anyone who wants to get back in touch with me, please feel feel free. And so, all right, I pray that today was better than yesterday, but not as good as tomorrow. I
Mhm.
pray that tomorrow will bring forth a double portion of blessings in the form of opportunity that you never saw coming. Thank you, Suelo. Thank you, David. Loving you, Dana, and what you're working on. You know I'm still there.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
please let me know what I can do if y'all are meeting uh generational turnaround. I have 4 nephews in prison, one on death row, two
Mm.
30 years. I just lost one who died in prison from stage 4 cancer. By the time he
Wow.
found out, he's
It
been
was
in
too
it
far.
2 years. It was too late. So I am very much an advocate for prison reform. And
Yes, ma'am.
did y'all hear what our President Trump said today about what Biden did by um, taking these prisoners off of the death row and giving them life? He said, I'm not saying Merry Christmas about that. That shouldn't have happened. And uh, he said that Biden shouldn't have done that. So, but that's his opinion. So, all right, because I'm definitely not gonna get on that.
Well, we as man, we as human, we shouldn't have the right to, say anything about somebody's life anyway. So,
That's right.
but
Right.
for everybody that wants to be in that, in that profession, as being a judge, as being a lawyer or whatever, I really feel for them, because at the end of the day, at the end of their life, they
Mhm.
have the answer to
They
that.
gotta.
So
Yes.
They got
we
the
just
answer.
have to be very, very careful. And that's what I was going to say, when we were talking about jobs earlier. Um, a lot of people, that's what David was talking about, when we were told to go out and work. Some of us didn't even pray about it, because God didn't even want us to even go out there and work, but
Yeah.
just because of the talents that we have.
Mm-hmm.
It's the programming. But even when it comes to the presidency and everything else, all of these wars, the one thing that I see wrong in my own self, in my own eyes, in my own ears, that too many people are talking and not enough people are praying. Um,
Mm,
Mhm.
say that.
they talk about it all on the news, and it's a repeat, and it's all the negative, and nobody is saying, okay, well, when are we gonna come together? When are we gonna pray?
Right.
Mhm.
We're supposed to be coming together as one, but it's like, oh, well, did you see that on the TV? And I can't believe he said that, and he said this, and what are we gonna do? And now here comes the worry, and here comes the fear.
Right. That's
Mhm.
right.
The worry and the fear is, what is that doing? That's giving those people fuel. And the more that we worry, the more that we show that we don't have a belief. You know,
Hmm.
what does this say? Come on now, this right here: walk by faith, live by love. Where's the faith? Where's the faith?
Activate your faith.
Where's the faith? We
Activate it.
all, that's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. Everybody,
That's
everybody talk the talk, but where's the love? Where's the faith? Where's the, okay? We got to
Mhm.
back. I keep hearing people say we got to put God back, but then turn around and be like, "Well, girl, you see what's going on over there." Well, that's not
Mm.
God. That's
but
gossip.
Yeah, where has God been talking about putting them back? Where has he been?
Because they don't pray for their kids. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people, the people that's saying we got to put God back in, are the ones
Yeah.
who don't pray themselves. That's what I'm saying. We have to
Mhm.
start praying ourselves. We have to stop pretending, and we have to
Mhm.
actually start doing the work. Because until we actually start doing the work, all this stuff is gonna keep happening. Everybody's gonna keep
Mm-hmm.
worrying who's in office. You know what? I could care less about who's
I
in
don't
office.
care either.
Right.
It
Me
don't
either.
matter to me. It don't matter to me because the only thing he's not gonna stop me from praying. I'm gonna
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
keep praying, and as long as I know that I'm covered by my Father and Savior, I have nothing
Hmm.
to worry about. I don't.
Yep.
But honestly, I'm gonna say this, and I know some people might get mad about what I'm about to say. But when Trump gets in office, I bet you we won't be paying all that money for gas anymore. I bet
Hmm.
you that. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. And
Oh my goodness.
I can
Yes.
I can tell you that APR on my credit card, that interest on my credit card go down a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's really gonna go down. But hey, that's just me. But I like I said, I could really care less about all this stuff. Because what some and yeah, we supposed to be getting out of here. But the one thing I did have to understand is becoming worldly. That's what that is. When you start
Yeah.
when you take your focus off of God, when you take your focus off of Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
you become worldly, and you start worrying, and you start talking about everything that everybody else is talking about.
Right.
Yeah. And
And
you start worrying about what Tom and what Jane and what everybody else and what they have. I just can't stand that. What I want what she has.
of the
I
world,
want to look like that one.
Mm-hmm.
of the world,
I want a piece of that one.
of the world, everything's worldly. But
Yeah.
then, but then when you start looking like Jesus, when you start looking like God, that's when everybody want to call you crazy because you're not looking like them.
Right.
And
Yep.
and then what about the people that they call crazy when who says, I talked to God. I saw God. I saw Jesus. I
Somebody just
saw
told me that just like 2 months ago that I was crazy, and I was like, because I talked to God, and I was like, no, I said, but I said, how do you think I listen to Him? How do you think I receive my blessings? How do you think I receive my direction? I talk to Him, He talks to me.
Right.
He tells me,
hmm
and
Mm-hmm.
I be still. He tell me to go, I get up and I go.
yeah. And
I say I keep them.
then they
You
want
know.
to ask you what he sounds like. What does your God sound like?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He sounds like when people used to say back in my day, I should have followed my second mind. My second mind told me you only got one mind. So whenever you say I should have followed my second mind, that second mind is
That's
actually the first mind. It's God telling you because He's trying to
mm-hmm.
protect you and cover you from whatever, but you're just not listening because you're working
Yep.
out the program.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's
Yep.
it right there. I think I can end on that one. What y'all think? What do y'all think that if you got something to
Yes.
say,
Let
forever
Mm-hmm.
the spirit talk.
hold
That's
your
a
peace.
good end note.
When the spirit
All,
talks, let it.
Yep.
all right, y'all. Thank you very much. And we
It's
must do this again.
yes.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna have to do it, show it in two segments, episodes rather. So let me say this right here. I okay. I can say it without. I'm not gonna let a tear drop. Not one. Not one. If it does, it then drop.
That's
I,
let
you
it
know,
fall, Judy. Let it
I
fall.
I was kind of worried, and I was supposed to do 2 or 3 episodes. Um, and I let the trickster, because I call him the trickster, make me believe that I didn't have anything of interest that um as you know, my speech is a work in progress. It's always been since I had the stroke and I woke up from the coma. And so I let him mess with my mind. And I would look, I would practice, and it sounded to me like I was talking so slow, and my words were out of sort, and I couldn't remember what I wanted to talk about. And so I would take myself, and every time I would rewind, I didn't like myself. I didn't like what I looked like. I didn't like what I was talking about. So I would never keep the tape. I would always erase it. And so after about 3 times, I said, I'm not going to do this. This is not for me. I'm too old. And 2 days ago, I tried again. I said, no, I'm going to try again. And God, if this tape don't come out right, then that's your sign. I'm just going to give it up. So I did 3 tapes, and they were so good, y'all. And it was, I didn't have a guest. It was just me and the audience. And I said, okay, God. He just wanted me to rest. Well, don't say nothing.
Okay. Okay, Miss Judy. Okay, Miss Judy.
After I worked a couple of days, and then I went back at it. Yeah, it pretty good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I had to stop Swallow because he was gonna say, yeah, and what have I told you? But because she always check on me, and she always say, did you rest today?
Mhm.
I'm
Yep.
gonna rest tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So
You know we already in trouble. Oh no, she gone, ain't she? Your daughter
yes, she
gone?
go.
Oh, well, we
Yeah,
good.
I'll be real asleep by the time she come in.
Okay, well, yeah, we good. But see, if she was at home, yeah, we would have to been off of here about an hour and 45 minutes ago. Now we would have just
We would
Oh,
have what,
but,
1 or 2 minutes?
yeah, but Swallow will tell on herself and then get both of us in trouble. So, what you talking about?
Ah,
Thank you, y'all.
it's been
Okay.
a nice one. It
Yes,
has.
yes, it has. So, hey, Swallow, what that piano you got back there in the background, in the in the in the back there?
well,
Do you get that piano like that?
well, I got that one. It was sitting on the side of the road. I was going down the street and I said, well, Miss G want me to go ahead and do something. I said, let me go and pick this up and throw it on top of the Jeep real quick and brought it on in. Yeah, but now I'm gonna try to get my logo up there, instead
Yeah.
of having that, in the background. Because I see it. I got that little nice GT over there in the corner. I'm like,
You
okay,
see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see
Yes.
that, huh?
damn. I
I
said,
got
okay,
one over.
Look
I got
real
one in my.
nice.
yeah,
I got one in my corner too.
yes, ma'am. I said, okay.
Oh, yeah,
Hey.
we got to do what we can do until we can do what we can do, and
Yes,
then
ma'am.
that's
Amen.
all.
Well,
That's it.
I wanna say this because y'all we really been trying to get out of here for a minute, but
I know.
regardless, and you see how everything's happening, regardless of how long I've been trying to do this, Miss Judy, regardless of how long you've been trying to do this, we always come back and it's always us, and we're always in here. We're doing the generational turnaround,
Yeah,
the generational turnaround and healing words. Speaking healing words into each other, into life, especially the kids. Um,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, and unapologetically me, sorry but not sorry. Some people, I really feel some people are not ready because they are not being honest with themselves. You know,
Yes.
and sometimes that's how it really is. If and when you start walking in that walk like you say that you are, the doors will open. But if you're not really walking in that walk, God's gonna protect you. God's gonna protect you, Miss Judy, and the people around you. That's just like He's gonna protect me and the people around me. So the people that are not supposed to have the to walk in the name or the brand generational turnaround, it's because they are not actually doing a generational turnaround.
Well said.
Very well said. And on that note, night. Good night, everybody. Happy
Good
New
night.
Year's.
Happy New
Happy
Year,
New Year.
everyone.
Happy New Year. Y'all stay blessed. And whatever you want in 2025, go for it. Don't let nobody stop you. If somebody try to stop you, take it to God and just have it just me, myself, and my God. And that's how it should be.
Yes.
Amen.
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 Now let me see how I can cut this off, y'all.
All
Okay.
right, y'all.
All right.
Wait
All
a
right.
minute before y'all
Peace and
go.
love, everybody.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's see. Let me turn it off.